Today's class is entitled The Physical You versus the Spiritual You, Thoughts, Thinking, Mind, Mental, Materialization, Manifestation. Okay, right. So when you see a title like that, The Spiritual You versus the Physical You, what comes to mind?
Like a battle between two parts of yourself?
Should there be a battle between the two parts of yourself?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so? You say you don't think so, you're not too sure whether you...
Well, I'm not too sure. By that I mean, I'm assuming that we're supposed to be in alignment enough for our entire being to function in unity. But with the way that we are programmed, and the society that we currently live in, I can understand why we are constantly at war between our
With ourselves.
physical selves and spiritual selves.
Correct, 100%, yeah. Well, you nailed it on the head. Really, we should be in harmony with our spiritual self. And I use that word harmony with all intent and purposes. We've heard the expression that we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. So, but what does that really mean? Somehow, because you said it, so you've got your fingerprints on it. When you come to the mic, bro. See, this is the benefit. These are the perks when you answer questions. Yeah, go ahead, Jamal. Yep.
So that means I think we're basically we're more in tune, unfortunately, with our physical beings than we are with our spiritual beings. So we have more work to do in order to tap into our spiritual sides as opposed to our physical sides, which we naturally, from a young age, we're meant to just like walk, run, if you know what I mean. Kind of.
You said a word there. Hold on, you said a word there was very pertinent. You said we have to tap in to ourselves.
Well,
so that means then that we are on the. If you have to go in, that means you are on the
outside.
Outside. So the journey is
tapping into the
spiritual side. Okay,
or
as they say. So the journey is inward out and outward in. So in order for you to go in, that means we are first outside. We have to go inside, make the journey inside, then come back outside, then go back inside. So as we say, it's like a figure eight, or like a spiral in and spiral out. Okay, and as Amata said, that you're 100% right. Continue that you said that when we're a little child, we are already tuned in to our physical and spiritual side, but due, as you said, programming or conditioning, we tend to lose that synchronicity with those sides. Not in totality, especially when we are young, up to a certain age. The master said after about the age of 7, we start to become more physical. You see? So now, as we get older, we then want to hear what we kind of gravitate to, like religion. We are, what it is, we gravitate to religion. It's programming because those who gave us religion, they know about us as a being, as a race. They know what we will gravitate to. So what we do is give them, what they do is they give us the book and they take the gold. You see? So you're 100% right. And you're 100% right. So we are, as a race, we are, without a doubt, spiritual people by natural nature. It's just that along the way, we've been given the wrong directions. Conditions. So matter of fact, we pass the mic to the bottom. Don't fight over the mic.
Thank you. So we're not basically in a spiritual fight with ourselves. It sounds like people have come in, given us this programming, and we are fighting with the program.
Yeah, what it is that we are in a battle with ourselves
I wouldn't agree with that.
in the sense that the conditioning,
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
The information that people have given us,
yeah,
that's what we are battling with. The
Yeah.
information
yeah,
that people have, you know, they blinded us with their information, and it's that information that we're now fighting with.
yeah. That's
So we've got to get rid of that
yeah,
information,
which is
get back to our original,
yeah,
and then that war, that psychological war, can be put an end to. That's my feeling.
yeah. You're 100% right. So what has happened is the journey, the brother said, the journey is inward, is inside and out. But what has happened is
We've been
that
contaminated.
we've been contaminated, or we've been conditioned to think of deity as being outside of ourselves. You follow? Because deity, the master said this, to look for deity outside of yourself is one of the greatest sins. Because according to their own book, I think it's John verse 8:44 says, or 8:23 says, it's not written in your law, I said ye are gods, which is coming from Psalms 82:6, where it reads, all of ye are gods, sons and daughters of the Most High. So when it says, Psalms 82:6, when it says, all of ye are gods, sons and daughters of the Most High, that is making a differentiation between God and the Most High. Okay. Even in Exodus chapter 7, it reads, and the Lord, the Yahweh, said unto Moses, see, I have made you an Elohim. The word there is God in the English. And Aaron, thy brother, shall be the prophet, or the news bearer, okay, just in front of the Pharaoh. So, meaning that, so this is the Pharaoh of Egypt, meaning that when Moses before Moses could even stand before the Pharaoh, he had to be an Elohim. The Pharaoh would have been is looked upon as an incarnation of a deity. In Egypt, he would be referred to as an Allah, a deity. So Moses, according to the Exodus chapter 7, verse 1, the Yahweh said unto Moses, see, I've made you a God. That will mean that this Yahweh, or the Lord, will have to be higher than God to make Moses a God. So Partner Babyanan is here to transform us back into that state of Elohim, according to how they use it in the Hebrew, or the Elohim, as they say in the Quran, or a Theos, as they say in the Greek, or Al-Nadar, or Nitiru, or Nadaru, as we say in the ancient Egyptian mystery system, or in Misbatia. You see, so the journey is in. And we say verses, that's what's happening. There is a battle inside of us. And that's why we need people first hear the truth, because Wu-Sabat is very much alive. It's a 9 Wu-Sabat, and the culture, the hadab, and the doctrine of Wu-Sabat is very much alive. It's 9 etheric forces that are over Wu-Sabat and what is teaching. So when due to religion is what we refer to as 6 ether or ghost-stational forces. So it is alive, but it has less consciousness to it. It's composed of a lesser forces than 9 ether. So it's not going to give up without a fight. You follow? Hey, what's about to see?
Robert as well. So what just come to a thought just come to mind when you said Wu-Sabat is alive. Would you be able to differentiate between Wu-Nupu, Asa-Nupu, Daba-Nupu, and also is Wu-Sabat an actual entity, or is it a group, or like, for lack of a better word, like a group? of different forces and
Yeah,
beings.
yeah, 100% right. It's an entity. Wu-Sabat is an entity in the sense that it is a state of consciousness of nine. When we say nine ether, we are saying nine ether is a combination of all existing chemicals, forces, chemicals, gases, elements, and forces of natural nature. This is what Wu-Sabat is composed of. We too are composed of all existing gases, chemicals, and forces of natural nature. Okay, so whatever we are receiving, whether it's physically or mentally, it's got to be of nine ether, because that is the highest of all existing. Religion and anything less than all existing is not really conducive to our upliftment or to our liberation and or salvation. Go ahead, Simon.
Does that mean it's in cohesion with our suppression then? If it's not Wu-Sabat, it's suppressing us.
That's right. That's right. It's a form of suppression, oppression, and repression. Okay, so anything less than that is not conducive to our elevation, not conducive to our liberation and or salvation. And when we say liberation, we use that word with all intents and purposes, because liberation means being free of opposing forces of whatever they may be it hunger, poverty, physical abuse, mental abuse. All that is what we're talking about when we say we want to be liberated. And Wu-Sabat is those creative forces that will bring about our liberation. Once we have been liberated, then we need what's referred to as salvation. Salvation basically means keeping those opposing forces away once a people have been liberated. So when we say Panabab Yanana is our savior, not savior, or when I say, let's take it like Jesus. If Jesus was a savior, how come he couldn't save himself? Only fools will think that, well, I wouldn't say fools because they don't know. But what it is that Jesus was a savior in the, okay, let's say Yeshua. Jesus didn't exist. Okay, let's say Yeshua, HaMashiach, Jesus the Messiah, Son of Mary. He was a savior to his people, meaning that he came to give them salvation information that they were not ready for. So he says, I will send another comforter, which was, we know, was Muhammad or Ahmed Ben, what's the dad's name? Abdallah. Yeah, you know what I mean? So, yeah. So basically, Muhammad is our Mukhlas or, that's the word used, Mukhlas or, our savior, because he's bringing salvation out formation, being transforming that into information. Okay. And what will happen is once we learn, absorb, understand, and apply what we have been taught, and we relay this out formation as information to our fellow sisters and brothers, we too become, like the master teacher, saviors, because it's each one teach one. You follow? So we are both student, teachers, student to each other. We are saviors to our own race. We are the liberators to our own race. Do for self and kind. Not to say that if someone outside of our race started to talk a certain way, we have that. We are obligated with all intents and purposes to relay right knowledge to them, because right knowledge is universal, irrespective of race, color, creed, tribe, extraterrestrial, or whatever. Okay. I've been rabbiting on a bit now. Any questions thus far on YouTube, Zoom? What's happening on Zoom? Anybody? Let me just somebody just read from Clubhouse, some comments there from Pharaoh Rising. That journey inside out and outside in was the purpose of the Mogharad ritual on the land. 24 circuits with 24 supplications with 24 overseers. Yeah, what it is, well done, Pharaoh Rising. 12 prayers going towards the center of the black pyramid and 12 going out away from the black pyramid. Yeah, correct. Yeah, on the land, we had the Mughal site, which is like, a black pyramid in the center, and you had like labyrinth, let's say, for lack of a better word. And as you go in, you turn to right, walk out long path, short path, long path, you go into the center. Then after that, you go take 12 paths out again. And at each point, there was a supplication we had to say. And you had the mirror there, and surround the mirror, you had, let's say the mirror was here, and this was the labyrinth there in the center. Say the laptop is the mirror. Around the center of the circumference of the mirror, the pyramid, you had the water there would be flowing to help in the conductivity of those forces. You had the tone plane, and it was to realign ourselves with what's referred to as tachyon energy, meaning that the shape of the pyramid creates what's referred to as tachyon energy in the shape of a double helix, and was to reconfigure our DNA. Okay, so that's what I think there's a book called The Palm Garage Scroll. You may be able to look at it. I'm not too sure.
You're kind of tapping into the questions I was gonna talk about, kind of with the tachyon energy. So as beings of day to day, we're electromagnetic beings, you know. So when we come into contact with people, how would we? Does like chanting help with your energy and your aura, and kind of being more conscious and aware to different auras and energies?
Yeah. Chanting, we say Rao Num. Chanting is one of those practices that cannot be underestimated. What the chanting does, it realigns our being, our physical with our spiritual, for lack of a better, or our etheric side, for lack of a better word, it's spiritual side. Yeah. When you say electromagnetic being, we touched on this many classes. When you say electromagnetic being, we talk about the heart seat and the solar plexus seat. Okay, so what the chanting does is, especially when we hit those, got the right tones, but in many classes we've got the right tones, it will start to resonate with not just our brain and our internal organs, but with our physical and non-physical self. And we also need to deploy what's referred to as introspection. When we say introspection, meaning that we should be introspective, or we should take a time during the day, every day, to sit in silence. So that when we are, because remember, when we are chanting, we are actually talking, we are communicating to the higher beings to bring about a condition or an environment that is conducive to our well-being. In order to get the response back, we should sit in silence. Because if we don't sit in silence, how are we going to be receptive to those telepathic communications that is constantly being transmitted to us by way of we use the word Monsabu, our relatives, which is grandparents or mother or brother or sister, those who crossed over the other side, and they communicate to us telepathically. How are we going to receive those impressions if we have a lot of music going on? There's too many distractions. We've got enough distractions as it is, so we should deploy being introspective, looking within ourselves, and that entails being sunny. We'll say something quickly, please.
I was saying about so that kind of taps into why I was asking the question, because I know I've heard that people use magnets, and would you be able to elaborate on that, or have you ever heard that? The reason being is because I'm studying electricity, and I know, for example, when you run current through a cable, you can get, it gives different effects like thermal, chemical, and magnetic. So you have to calculate things like the velocity, the speed, because with conductors like us, we're electromagnetic. So how would one as a Sabian kind of protect ourselves from different energies that are kind of vibrating on different frequencies, kind of with is the magawaj, because I know you mentioned a conductor, water, walking around, is that kind of a science? Is there a science that we can use on a day-to-day basis to kind of, are you saying it's just the chanting and things like that?
Right, yeah. It's a good thing you asked that question. And the master teacher put it like this, that we have a variety of options at our disposal towards our elevation. And what's happening is, as we are chanting, we actually forming a protection around us. There are other people who deploy the use of crystals. I've got no knowledge on crystals. Yeah, so people did. I mean, about magnets. You also got to have somebody who is well versed in the utilization of magnets, and also things like acupuncture, etc., etc. So people do. The master just talked about magnets in this particular scroll. A bit later on, but okay. Since we use the word crystals, let's quickly talk about crystals.
No, you should mention breath. Is breath acupuncture?
Breath.
Breathing. Breath is a form of acupuncture.
Not really. Acupuncture more and more. Not in that sense when they use
not the needle, but
what they do use is they call another term used is acupressure. Use that term when people can touch certain points of your hand, and you must have seen the kung fu movies where you see Spock in Star Trek. You touch the man's acupressure, and the man he gets flipping. What's he do? Man he just drops out. Paralyzed. Yeah, acupressure. Look at Star Trek. But but when we talk about crystals, if you go to this scroll here, you can tell this evolved and scroll, innit? Mash up, better buy me some new one. Okay, this is called actual fact number 18. Say tones, frequencies, and vibration. Okay. So we talk about crystals. Let's just read this from page 13, verse 64. It reads, you're talking about crystals here. The crystal is a known quantum converter, meaning the ability to convert from the quantum realm. The crystal is a known quantum converter, the ability to convert energies from the quantum realm that is able to transmit energy in a magnified state. That's what a crystal does. And this energy can easily be absorbed or received by biological matter, such as your physical body. Okay, so a crystal is a transceiver. It can transmit and it can receive information. Okay, from beyond a quantum level, from a quantum level and beyond. This is a quantum converter, convert nashat energy. Okay, 65. So the crystal is formed by way of a spiraling motion. Okay, and is a known quantum converter transmitting energy, information outside of this dimension. We say information into this dimension, or intellect and outellect at a magnified rate. Self-explanatory. 66. When you bring all light to a complete standstill inside a crystal, it can be used to store information and information in a quantum computer. 67. Quartz crystal is similar to that. Okay. I'll continue reading so I don't lose track what's been read. 68. 67 again. Quartz crystal is similar to that. 68. Quartz crystal is made up of a lattice network of silicon and oxygen atoms which surround a relatively open space. 69. It is in this open space that can be compressed or squeezed and expanded with certain stimuli. 70. This same stimulus also make the crystal vibrate or sing or chant. 71. These vibrations make waves which human receptors pick up and convert back to binary information, let's say like a quantum computer. 72. So in fact, vibratory information can be stored, as can the light that came to a standstill inside the empty space. 73. These crystals do much more though. 74. They also amplify the energy the way a dome shape magnifies sound, meaning it's like acoustic, in it. When you sometimes you go into a room that's very acoustic, and this, like for example, we talked later on about the pyramids, you know, like an echo type of sound. The thing is that we can produce those same effects with our voice as well. That same resonant frequencies, we can do that with knowing how to chant correctly. We can create or produce those same kind of environment, I don't know what word to use, okay, when you're chanting. Okay.
Can I say something?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Samantha.
Thank you. It's interesting that you're doing this topic, because I actually was going to mention something today about energy and everything that you're saying, because I got what I call a download. Last time I asked the question with one of the meetings, and I talked and asked a question about RH negative, and I can't remember the full answer that I got, but it was the answer that I got didn't sit well with me, so I kind of just went on and just meditated and went back into it.
Yeah.
And what the download I got really is to do with what you're talking about, because when I did the download and the research I did, was that the RH negative, when you think about negative ions, we talk about nature, that we are from nature. The most healthy thing for us is negative. It's negative ions. Anything in nature is that's good for us. It's the negative one. And when I was doing that research, the female was also the negative part of the positive. The male was the positive, the female was the negative.
Correct.
And when I was doing research on reptilians and frogs and all those kind of things, because we are originally from water, they are blue blood. They respond like RH negative blood. And Dr. Malaka York always tells us life is in the blood. So
Right.
when I was getting that download, it was that the negative reaches the O is the original, and they're going to wake up, and they need to wake up now, because we are the ones that are going to balance the people who are RH negative and balance the earth for what's coming, because the radiations that you talk about, 9 ether energy that's coming down. And for us to kind of get the downloads, because for my study, the RH negative it's all about gas. You're talking about gas and all the neutrons and electrons. Their blood is much more gassy, which when the positive is more heavier, more dense. And so to tap in, we have to be in like negative ion spaces, like blue spaces, which is by the river, where you get the most highest negative energy from there, the negative ions, which will allow us to open up a little bit more, because we all blocked and more dense. So anywhere where there's negative ions, in nature, but really different colors, blue, green, brown, anywhere where it's nature that has different colors, because the different colors also go for the different strengths, and they do different things to our body that connects to our chakras. So it's interesting that you're talking about this, because that's what I was going to mention today. So yeah.
Zamata. Yes, you're 100% right. In the breath scroll, I'm going to use me today, but it's in my head. The master teacher said that after it has rained, there's a lot of negative hydrogen ions within the atmosphere. And the negative hydrogen ions, you're 100% right. The negative polarity is actually feminine in principle, and it's more higher than the positive, which is a masculine principle. And when we are chanting, or when we are breathing, especially after it has rained, the negative hydrogen ions, the atmosphere is heavily imbued with negative hydrogen ions after it has rained, and we are doing a lot of breathing in, conscious breathing, we are imbuing our whole being with those ions that's within the atmosphere. Especially if you're around trees, or like you said, being in water, you're 100% right. What we call it is sikhem. I think there's an updated word for that, but the word is sikhem. Which is sikhem is the etheric counterpart to oxygen. Oxygen is O8 on the elementary chart, and sikhem is E8 on the etheric chart. So it's like the etheric counterpart to the oxygen that we take in.
Is it what holds it together?
Not that it holds it together. Oh, you can say that for lack of a better word, but what it is that it's that energy that would repair our etheric, that thing called the aura, repair our aura by doing those type of breathing. The atmosphere is imbued with sikhem. It's just that it is enhanced after it has been rained, or especially when you are around the sea or around water, because remember, right, that the sun is always shining and the water is always being vapor. We say evaporating. Yeah, it's always going to be evaporated. We may not see it, but it's always been evaporated. And like the master said, that we live in a water environment anyway, something that we're not mass underwater like a well would be, you know, but it is a water environment. So we are constantly taking in these sikhem when we are, especially if you do it, you're breathing consciously, and it would create an electromagnetic force field around us by way of the breathing, and it creates our aura acts as a transceiver as well, along with our hair as well. So our whole body, because remember, our skin is also an organ as well, the largest organ in the body. We'll say something probably.
So the shawel, or the will, is that talking about the positive and negative forces? And would you be able to elaborate why we have positive and negative in us, and where did it come from, originate from, or does that relate to our will?
Yeah, will, as Pana Babyanana puts it, will is the definition of Pana Babyanana put like this: will is the ability to decide upon a course of action. That's what will is. Either what you ought to do or ought not to do. Positive and negative is really subjective, because you may do something that's wrong in the eyes of the onlooker, but that could be a necessary action that you're doing. For example, what comes to mind is in the scroll called Zedi, or the Hutimus, where, or they say, Zedi, you know, the story in the Quran, it talks about Moses and El Khidir, the green one, when he's on that journey, or Melchizedek, you know, on that journey, and Melchizedek, or Zedi, or the Huti, he killed a little boy, and in the eyes of the Thutmose, he thought that's got to, you know, that's one of the, you kill the geezer for, you know, a little boy, blah, blah, but there was a purpose behind it. So disagreeable is it's not always disagreeable. It may look to the onlooker, it may be looked upon as a disagreeable act, but it can be agreeable. And in saying that, we have, like you said, we have dual natures. We have the agreeable and disagreeable side of us. And sometimes we need to exercise the disagreeable nature when it is called for, and there are times you have to exercise the agreeable nature when it is called for. So both of them have to be balanced. Now, within the word disagreeable and agreeable, the word inside is also called ashuk, divine love. Divine love doesn't mean that you allow people to treat you like a doormat. The master teacher says it of the recipients. They are kind, they are stern, yet kind and caring. So you may have to be stern to say your son, your daughter, or just, let's say you're the boss or the boss lady of the company. Sometimes you have to be stern to the fellow workers, to the I was about to say minions, but I'm not gonna say that. You know what I mean? I never said it. I was about to say it, but I never said it. Or did I? Anyway, you have to be stern to the man then. You know what I mean? Because you got a job to do. You know, you got a job to do, so sometimes you have to be stern. You think part of maybe, you know what I mean? That's like yeah. So you always have man say that my mum, she's give me some licks when I was young, rare. You know what I mean? So the time is well. So a shock is not really. You have to being stern or being exercising that disagreeable nature becomes necessary when it is necessary, and there are times you have to exercise the agreeable nature when it is necessary. So we have dual natures within inside of us, or you can use the term different polarities, as in positive charge and negative charge. Okay, it is part of natural nature. What is unnatural is when there's an imbalance, because an imbalance or a person who's too kind and caring leads to emotional stress. You know, that people can't take it. They can't take the boss lady shout at them. You know, they can't take it, and they leave the job, go to another job, and they see another boss lady. The difference is, right, is that the face has changed, but they're still getting the same treatment until the day that they realize, you know what, I've got to stand up for myself. I've got to exercise that disagreeable nature. And when the boss lady hollers at you, I'm not pointing at you, but I'll point at you. When the boss lady holler at the brother, brothers, right? You know what I mean? You've got to stand up for yourself and say, well, such and such and such and such. You have to exercise that nature within inside of you. If you don't exercise that disagreeable nature within inside of you, when it is called for, this situations and the circumstances will always replicate themselves again and again and again. Conversely, you have to exercise the agreeable nature when it's called for. So you hear the balance between agreeable and disagreeable. And imbalance, then you become a tyrant. Isabel, pass the mic to Baba. Go ahead, Sam.
I hope I remember what I was going to say. So is it like a frequency attack when people are speaking or you're hearing sounds? Is it like a frequency attack?
When you are hearing...
When you're hearing sounds? Because right now I'm speaking, you're hearing the sound of me speaking. So if it was a harsh word deciphered by you, then would that be a frequency attack? Do I need to say more?
The word attack seems a bit kind of...
Because it's like positive and negative.
Yeah.
So like you was using as an example,
Yeah.
like the woman was saying something and she's hollering at you.
Yeah.
So she's saying something in a frequency, in a sound.
Yeah.
Is that the attacking sound? Like you don't like the sound of what's happening? Is it a frequency attack?
Yeah.
Robert Zamal. It's me. Can I just add to that?
Go ahead, Zamal.
Attack. You could use a police siren or some type of crowd dispersal, which the government uses sometimes to disperse crowds using ELF. That's a form of frequency attack. Extremely low frequencies.
Yes, that is the voice. That is the voice.
That's right. That's right.
Anything with sound can be used as either an attack or the opposite of an attack.
That's right. That's right.
An ally.
Yeah.
But is sound a factor here?
Yeah. I'll come back to your question.
Same in regards to a dog whistle.
Yeah, hang on, this could be, have you got any more to say, Zamal?
Not all Jamal Tawatak. I yield.
Yeah, I'll touch Zamal. Yeah, what the brother was here said there, you talk about EMF, what's it called? EMF,
Extremely low frequencies.
extremely, yeah, extremely low frequencies. Like the brother said, yeah, you can hear like a dog whistle. Like, we want to say something more about the dog whistle.
The same as what we're talking about in regards to.
Is it the same in regards to both things that I just mentioned, the frequencies and the sounds, the dog whistle? Because I know when a dog hears a dog whistle, they feel pain. One of those things. So isn't that, well, not an attack, but is that on the same thing that police use to disturb, to break up the people?
Right,
The
yeah.
dog whistle's the same to control them. I'm pretty sure that, yeah.
Yeah. So what the brother's saying there is that you're talking about like a frequency attack, that term you use?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Yeah, because what I'm saying is, yeah, as a low frequency, it's still emitting a sound. We may not be able to hear it, but somebody can hear it. But I'm talking about what we can hear.
Right, yeah.
You know, our sounds that we're giving out. You
Yeah,
know,
I
some
hear.
people have said to me, the terms of, oh, what you said just hurt me.
Yeah.
You see, and I'm thinking, well, how can I be hurting you when I'm not attacking you? So are you taking what I'm saying, and with that sound, are you hurting yourself with that sound, as how you're choosing to understand it, or choosing to levelly sit with it, or however because I don't know what's happening inside the other person's head, you see.
Yeah.
Could that also come down to your tone, though,
Yeah.
and how you're saying it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how you're vibrating.
But like I said,
Like, I understand, yeah, how you're vibrating, but I'm talking about the tone and how you're talking. Like, I could speak to you, Zamal, and ask you to sit down.
Yeah.
If I speak to my son, sit down. Like, I have to be a bit more.
Force or like a command.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know whether the brother, if that's what you're trying to say in terms of the tone when people get offended.
I don't know what they're feeling. I don't know what they are processing, how they are calculating it. Something it's like manning it over, equating it. I don't know what steps they've taken.
Right.
But you know, but you're right, because like when you're speaking with your son, you will know your son how to get your son to do something. So you have to pick a certain tone for him to come into compliance with what you're saying. So is this how we're using the sound, basically?
Right, yeah.
To come into compliance with what we're asking or what they're saying.
Right, I hear that. Okay. What there's a saying, it's not what you say, it's how you say it, you see. So in our language, Misbatia, and also in Arabic, we learn Arabic, there's what we refer to as command tense, meaning that you may have to say, sit down as a command, because you say sit down, or you say sit down. By the tone of your voice and the command, we call it like a command, has an effect on the individual as what to do or what not to do. There are times, taking that into consideration, there are times when you have to speak using a command, a tone that's commanding, and there are times when you have to speak using a tone that is soft, depending on the environment and depending on the run or the situation that you want to achieve or the result you want to achieve. So when you talk, and hear this, sound, just like thoughts, has weight, shape, size, and color, and force.
Like
How
that
we
Dr.
know-
Emoto, isn't it?
Sorry?
The test on water, guy that did test on water, because we are water, and anytime he said abusive words, the shape changed, and when you said positive words, the water shapes were much more better because we want water. So, like you're saying about sound and frequency.
Exactly, yeah. You're talking about the effect that sound has on an environment, be it solid, liquid, and or gas. Okay, so now sometimes you could use a soft tone to indoctrinate a people or to hypnotize the people. Conversely, you could use the same tones, the same frequencies, and the same soft vibrations to dehypnotize the people, for lack of a better word. Now, for example, the mere fact that we are speaking the doctrine of Wu-Sabat right now is having an effect on the environment and the molecular structures that's within the atmosphere right here and all around the world. It's having an effect mentally, physically, and or spiritually. And we're not even speaking this bacteria. What it's doing is it is imbuing the atmosphere with 9 etheric forces. And once, as we said before in many classes, once we start speaking our own language, it's going to be a game changer. Not just for us as a race, but for the planet. Remember that this planet Earth is within this solar system, and all the planets are interlinked. They call it the zodiac. But the zodiac is not just the planets, but there's also the galaxies and the constellations. Not just the universe, but we say the dualverses, triverses, multiverses, the omniverse. So this is the fact. And we're reading earlier on about how sound can be magnified. You follow? So you're 100% right, Zamal, that sound can and does have an effect on individual and or individuals. Yeah. Do you want to say something else?
I wanted to ask as well if the sounds of words and such, and the frequency of it, and how it sounds, emits a certain energy, a certain frequency towards us. What about the written word? When a certain word is written down, does that emit a certain energy?
Yeah. The Martin teacher, again, in the black book, it's in my head anyway. It's all in my head. I'm not reading book. I absorbed it, not mean I absorbed it. Yeah. Yeah, the master said you could, you know what I mean? Yeah, one day you become like, yeah, we take the laugh, mate. Yeah, what the master said in black, let me just read it for you. I've got the black book here. This is score. We read this quote many millions of times. Trillions of times I should add to that. Okay. Chapter 2 of the Black Book, verse 1. It's got here. Scroll, that's it. The Black Book, page 137, scroll 2. The importance of language. Question: how important is the language? Take a look at the very word spell. To put a spell on a person or to spell the word. You get that? To put a spell, look at the very word spell. To put a spell on a person or to spell the word. You get that? You'll get that?
Both, isn't it? Both.
When you say both, what do you mean both?
Well, the word is a spell. You spell words.
Yeah, and spoken by way of the spoken, right.
Or written, or read.
Yeah, that's right. So what was your question again, Samantha?
Does the written words emit certain energies and frequencies as well?
That's right. So here it is. You're reading something in your mind. You're not making an utterance. You're reading something in your mind, and it's enforcing a spell. Because you're reading it. Remember, thoughts have weight. It's physical. For lack of a physical, thoughts have weight, shape, size, color, tone, frequencies, and vibration. That is your thoughts. So when you're reading something, let's say You got the good book. What the good book is, we all know what the good book is. That's what they call it, the good book. You may read it in your mind, but the mere fact that you're reading that book, the good book, in your mind, it is having an effect on the environment of which ye dwell. It's enforcing a spell. The written word is enforcing a spell. Just like the spoken word is enforcing the spell.
And the English language, it's cast to call spells on yourself.
Yeah.
Language is dangerous language to be speaking.
But in saying that, what language are we speaking right now?
I'm highlighting the danger to myself that I've spoken to myself.
Yeah. But hear this though, because now you are questioning it, that language, you are now breaking the spell. In fact, I don't know if you are aware of it.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Break the spell.
You're breaking the spell.
Using
The
their jargon as my communication to other individual self.
right. So what you're doing is using what they have used and are using to enforce the spell, using the same language to break the spell. Right? That's something. And to seal it is to speak our own language.
Yeah.
Lock, stock, and barrel. Game changing. Pull the shutters down and you know, end of.
Zamal Hapti, may I just?
I think someone say something, sorry.
Rahubat, it's Saken.
Wrong about a second.
Zamal, is it okay to just add a bit to what you were saying on
Sure,
sound?
sure. I'll put on mute. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I heard the comment that the Zamal on Zach Phillips was saying about the negative I guess ions, etc. Now, this is why the pyramids were built. When we did the Mugaraj in Tamaray, Egypt of the West, when we were doing the Mugaraj, that ceremony was because what a lot of people didn't realize is that pyramids are an electromagnetic antenna that basically creates standing columnar waves. And this was done because to stop the wobble of the planet. Because after the destruction of, what people call Atlantis, the earth needed to be balanced. And the pyramids of Giza were built to balance the magnetic field and the land masses of the earth because of the shift in the axis of 23 degrees. Now, most of the people on the planet have a negative, right? A negative aura, or what we used to call, the tepe hesp. And so the process of transforming that negative electrical charge was the purpose of us doing that ceremony, because although most people have that negative charge, it's a process to turn you into a positive electrical charge. And the pyramids were really the tuning device to help you basically achieve this change. And this is why, although there's more negativity, the process is to take you from negative to negative positive, and eventually to positive positive. So even though when we're talking about the blood types, the master teacher explained that prior to this taking place, everything was positive. It's because of the, in a way, these beings that came here, they brought about that negativity. And those beings that are running the planet today are all using RH negative, or their blood types relate to the RH negative. But prior to that, it would have been positive, which is what the pure etheric energy beings are, who are our ancestors, like the 9 Enneads. So I just wanted to touch on that whole thing about the positive and the negative. So where we are now, we refer to it as Mother Nature, because down here, the woman is, the goddess, and the master teacher is explaining that the reason most people refer to God or Allah or these deities as a he is because when we come out of this atmosphere, that's dealing with, more of the male energy, if you like. But being on the planet, it's predominantly dominated by the feminine. And with that, I yield. Tawakkul.
Can I say something, please, just to when I did my research on the RH negative though, and when you're talking about the positive and negative, when we're talking about positive energy, it's actually not actually good for us to be on a positive energy, because when we have too much positive energy coming in, we're actually more stressed, we're more tired, we sleep a lot, and it actually affects our blood. When we have more negative energy, we are we're more happy. And people who have SAD, which is an illness when there's not too much light, the way they cure it is with negative ions. So I don't agree with the whole. I'm not saying that Dr. Mankara is wrong, but what I believe is that when you're talking about the RH negative, you have to understand there's O, there's A, B, and AB. When you're talking about the people that run the world, they're not O negative, they're B, AB. They're all those kind of people, and those are clones or people they use the O negative blood to make the A and the B, the other species. O is the oldest. Now, when we talk about melanin, when you look at the European, they do a lot of tests on melanin because they know the importance of melanin, right? Like I mentioned before, there's power in the blood, and there's life in the blood. They're also doing a lot of tests on RH negative blood. Because when you talk about the Basques are not European. They're actually from Morocco, which is Africa, okay? And those Basques are descendants of the Moors who came from Morocco. They're at the border of France and Morocco, okay? That's the reason why they're interesting, because they look European, because most Europeans are A, B, and AB. Most Nubians, Black people, are O, okay? And there's still Europeans that are O as well. But when you see a European that's O, they're not European, they're Black, okay? Because we get confused with the skin types, okay? So when I'm talking about the people that you talk about, the royals, the blue bloods, they are not O. I've done my research. Then none of them are O. Most of them are AB or A. They're not even B. So the O negative is completely different from the A, B, and AB. And if you look at when they give blood, everyone can take from an O negative, but O negative cannot receive blood from all the other blood types. But the O negative can give to every blood type, and every other blood type can only give to their own. But O negative can give to all the blood types. So that's already telling you as a sign that the O negative is the oldest, because they can give to every blood.
So what the master put a scroll out called the harvest, and in that it goes into it about the RH negative blood type. I just listened to we played it earlier on in the beginning of the class, but if you listen to the whole tape, it's called The Reality of Life After Death. The master goes into it about the RH negative blood type, The Reality of Life After Death. It's named, you can go on YouTube. And in there, and also in the scroll, the harvest, he goes into as well, and how the RH negative is actually coming from the Pleiadians. And if a female who's RH negative, she cannot have a child from someone who is RH positive, because the womb will kill the child, that unborn fetus, because it acts as what's the word he used, as a weapon. You want to say something, Samuel?
No, yeah, basically, your whole point, what it is to forget that you're fusing in the blood. So basically, the negative and positive charges in the blood chromosome, so therefore the DNA fuses with the blood, which kind of enhances with your positive negative charge. That's what people are getting. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
I was going to ask a question on Zamal. Why do likes attract? come in and repel?
Like,
How come
Like-
there's a repelling and attracting force within the positive and negative principle, and was that dealing kind of with magnetism,
yeah, again,
the
for
magnetic flux type of thing?
for polarity, for balance as well.
Yeah.
For balance as well. That's what it, that's all part of nature. You see, it's all part of nature. When you say light charges repel, unlike charges attract. Okay, it's all got to do with natural nature and balancement. We also got natures within people. When the brother Sakem was talking about how where you have the Maharaj, things were changing from a negative to a negative positive to positive negative to negative negative. That's the purpose of the Maharaj, is making reference to
The transition.
the transition from let's say use the word for let us use this word, a negative environment
Sure.
to a more positive environment, and it has an effect on our being, meaning that the master said like this, and I heard people say like this: when they first heard the doctrine, they start having nightmares. That's because within inside of them, you had opposing forces that are fighting for survival. Because Wu-Sabat, when the individual is being absorbed by the individual, the negative forces that's within inside of the individual, when they go to sleep, there's a battle going on. And there's a battle going on inside of them that who's going to win. And the more they stay on Wu-Sabat, or we say Patorok, the way, those forces will have no other alternative to flee. So now, going back to the brother Zamal Saken was talking about, the Mugaraj, that is what the purpose of that was, to change the negative frequency within the atmosphere to a more positive frequency within the atmosphere. And the Mugaraj was just one of the many sites on the land, Tamare, that was utilized for doing that. And also us as an individual, we have many options at our disposal to make that change as well. And like we said earlier on, when we're talking about language and the English language, the mere fact that we are speaking this English language and we talk about Wu-Sabat as this nine knowledge, because we talk about this nine knowledge, and that is just in the English language, it is changing the atmosphere and how we think. So the same language that they use to enforce the spell, using the same language to break the spell. As we said, the game changer is our own Lahang language. Somehow the mic, if you start.
Don't forget the people on Clubhouse. You have a few people
Clubhouse.
on stage and also
I'll take
a
some.
question in the
Look,
chat.
any questions on the Clubhouse? Give it a couple of minutes first. There's someone here on the chat here, room chat. Anna Pandi says, Rahubat, sometimes I would stand up for self, but there is that heavy guilt that I would feel after. What is that? Do you know that feeling is actually you standing up? It's like an internal battle that's going on with inside of self. The more you start to stand up for yourself, those guilt feelings will start to dissipate and you become a stronger individual. There are times that you have to exercise that nature to stand up for self. Otherwise, people will begin to use you like a doormat. It will dissipate. You know what they say? It's a saying that goes, people will only treat you according to what you allow. The more you allow yourself to be abused, the more people will do that. You know that they say they prey on the weakness of the individual. Stand up for yourself, or the master says, stand up for self and kind. Okay, so for Anna, Panda, hope that helped. Any questions, brother? Want to say something? Oh, brother here, then brother back. Go ahead.
You said something on, you mentioned dreams for a second. So in the doctrine, is what you're saying, if you're having battles in your dreams, you need to focus more on the physical and what's happening in the physical? That's the question. So it's just, so
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
yeah.
Remember, your dream world and the physical world are related. We have 4 minds. I can talk about this later on, but we talk about it now. We have the conscious mind. We have, which is the awareness state. We have the subconscious mind. We have the superconscious mind. We have the unconscious mind. Now, we have the conscious mind, where we are alert, we are awake. We have the subconscious mind, and in the word sub means just that which is a deeper level than the conscious mind. We also got the superconscious mind, which means that state of awareness which is higher than the conscious mind. We also got the unconscious mind. They're the dudes who's just asleep. You know what I mean? Then you got those in coma. That's the next level down, isn't it? Or deep level. Now, the subconscious mind and the superconscious mind are states that can be preempted, meaning we can go to those states with your eyes wide open. Because it's got to do with the brainwave frequencies. They term it, some people study the brain, use what they call an electroencephalograph, meaning they're able to look at brainwave frequencies and they put it into categories. The waking state, they call it the beta level, conscious level. Then below that, then they have, when the brainwave frequencies start to drop down, they call it the alpha level. When it drops down again, they call it the theta level. It drops down, they call it the delta, and they go da 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 da. Now, the subconscious level is where our internal or involuntary actions within the body occurs, and a subconscious level. And it is in those levels where we would meet our ancestors. We also got the superconscious level where the higher beings reside, and we could make communication with the higher beings. So when we are chanting, like the chant we did in the beginning of the class, we are tapping in to the subconscious part of our being to make that link with Panabhavi. Now, when you talk about in your dream state now, and there's a battle going on, there are beings in your subconscious mind who are doing the battle.
When you say doing the battle, do you mean the ones who are opposing or the ones who are fighting for them?
Okay.
Or is it just me doing the fighting?
It could be, honestly, you doing the fighting. You also got, it could also be your disagreeable ancestors. It could also be forces, 6 etheric forces within you, or based on that, because the atmosphere that we've taken in could also be battling, or it could be your lower self battling because it's losing control of your higher self. You see, so the physical world has an influence on the spiritual world or the inner world. the inner world has an influence on the outer world. So both of them have an influence on our being and our mental state of awareness, or our consciousness, for lack of a better word. So all the doctrine or the culture of Wu-Sabat and all that it encompasses is there to win over, I'm trying to think of the word, to overcome, for lack of a better word, the lower forces within our being. Or the word you say, to elevate us to gain control of those lower forces, that which is discipline. Okay.
Can I just add one more
Go ahead.
question to this? So within that, obviously, there are frequencies involved.
That's right.
So you see electricity. Can electricity be invoked from those frequencies? And is that a sign as to what may be going on? So for example, if light starts flickering, or if all of a sudden lights cut out in your house, or your Wi-Fi has gone down, or you have no 4G on your phone, but everywhere else you go, everybody else has got 4G. For some reason, in that moment, you don't have that. Can that, so is that a sign? Can you take that as those sort of activities with electricity or frequency as a sign?
As a sign of
On what may be happening in on your subconscious level, where your dreams may be, or any of those battles that may be happening. So
I'm trying to figure out what the question is. I think the problem was
To bit to that, because electricity is like the question the lady was talking about, negative ions. When you get a cold shower, for example, it releases negative ions. Ions is basically there's a less or more charge of an electron. An electron is part of a group called an atom, where you have a nucleus in the middle, then you have a proton with an electron, a proton, and an electron spin around it. Electricity is the flow of an electron to another atom. So things can be manipulated. It was like we were talking about the magnetic flux. For example, if you put a magnet towards a conductor, copper, even us, it creates electricity. You know what I mean? So things can be manipulated on the molecular level because we're conductors. I hope that helps.
Can I add to that as well?
Go
When you're
ahead.
talking about it's exactly right what he was saying. So now when I was talking about the Rh negative, our blood is copper based, positive is iron based, and that's why it's easier for the so-called Rh negative. They say they're spiritual beings. It's not their spiritual beings more than the positive. It's just that their conducting is more easier. Copper is easier to conduct than iron. And when we're talking about nine ether energy, we're talking about the ions, it conducts easier with copper because we don't see our blood. Obviously, we don't know that there's different kinds of metal in the blood. Yeah. So then again, when we're talking about the Basque people, it's easier to say that they've got a higher population of Rh negative because they've got a small population. So if you calculate a small population of people, obviously the number is going to be higher. They don't have the highest Rh negative. The highest Rh negative, I'm talking about O negative, is in Africa. Africa has the highest O negative in the world. The second out of Africa is the UK. And I guarantee you 99% that will be Nubian people who have that O negative. Now, when Malachi York talked about when Nebuchadnezzar came to hit the earth, he said that there was negative beings in the water. Now, I call myself a Nigerian Yoruba. I believe I come from Tiema. I am from the water being because I've got that hole in my ear. So when I'm an Rh negative, okay, my family is from lineage and lineage have always been Rh negative, and we can do supernatural things. We've always done supernatural things because our blood is copper based. So we can connect better with the ether being because we've been here from the beginning. That's the reason why I want to challenge the ideas of when people talk about RH negative, because we're talking about different blood types. Okay, so the A, the B, and the AB, the copper base is much lower, much lower than the O negative. Okay, and when we're talking about the age of Aquarius, when we talk about the 144, there's 8 million people in the world. When they're talking about 144, this is just my download I've got. 144 million negatives have to wake up to balance the earth. So because there's going to be negative ions and radiation coming in, and the positive cannot, because they've done tests on the positive blood, they can't stand negative radiation. When the negative blood can stand radiation, because we've got protection around our cells. We don't have the rhesus gene, and that's the reason why I'm mentioning it, because we have to wake up. I'm telling you, the RH negative has to wake up, because we have to balance the earth for when the energies are going to change, which is going to affect a lot of positive people.
Yeah.
Okay, can I try up this a little bit more?
Go ahead.
Basically, you're on point in some points, but not all of it. So what it is basically the copper in the blood gives the charge of the electromagnetic field in your body. Yeah. So O blood, you're right on point, we've got 4 blood types.
Yeah.
So basically what's happening in the R, the H negative, it's come from a rhesus monkey. It's not saying basically the RH negative is not from the Basque people. Remember the Basque people are also a mixture. The Basque people are basically a mixture of the Moors and the Europeans.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. That's why they're going. Their blood is not stronger. But a lot of people think they're European, but they're not European.
Basically, let me finish it. Basically, what I'm saying is the whole point I'm making is when you've got the RH negative blood types, what Marcy just saying in the books is basically due to mixing a lot of DNA has gone tampered with. Yeah, due to tampering.
So, but why can the negative give blood to all the blood types though? And not the other blood types can give to each other?
Because your old blood type, the original blood type, and that's what higher copper. That's where you get melanin from. Melanin is produced in your blood type, in your actual.
Sorry, I can't hear you properly. Can you speak to the mic?
Your pineal gland produces your melanin.
Sorry, It's just that I can't hear you.
All right, your pineal gland produces your melanin. When your melanin, you got DMT. Do you know what DMT is?
Yeah, I know what DMT is, yes.
Okay, DMT basically is a higher form of energy, yeah, which basically what marijuana does somewhat to the blood system, so therefore you get high in terms of what. So basically, in your actual DNA, your blood type, you got to realize something. When Master just said the Basque people, you got to realize it's a mixture of DNA. Yeah, so it's not saying 100% the Basque people are 100% RH negative. Just that you've got a mixture of the DNA from the Moors. The Moors are Negaru.
Yeah, but when they put on Google, they're saying that they are 100%. I'm just saying from research. I know they're not. I'm just saying from research and what people keep repeating that they're the highest. I know they're not. That's what I'm just saying.
What I'm saying, when we keep the facts, somebody said believe at the start of it. You believe in what the Google said. We deal with facts.
No. I didn't say I believe. I said from my research.
Okay.
That they say the Basques. I never said believe. I never used the word believe.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, that's it, Freddie.
Okay, I just want to read. It's not really a so. Okay, I just want to read something based on what Zamalta and Zach Phillips said, and this is from the Mennonite children, the old scroll. Sorry, can everyone see that? It's from the Mennonite scroll. I mean, from page 7. Question. How is oxygen toxic to us? Answer. It is not. Oxygen is not in connection with the other elements that together create a harmonious environment. Sucking in oxygen all the time is toxic to the system, believe it or not. It has certain radioactive isotopes in it, 14-0, 15-0, 19-0. I may sound crazy, however, it clears up many oddities about our present biochemistry. Then the Tiru, which is the Egyptian name for the Anunnaki, I remember when this was written. Then the Tiru, which is the Egyptian name for the Anunnaki, had an excellent balance of zinc, copper, magnesium, and iron in their blood streams. To have green skin, copper would have to have been would have to have been an abundance in the blood. In other words, the blood would have to have been more like chlorophyll or even a green color. The color is kind of greenish, so that put that gold in them. What also helped the gold was the liquid gold that was in their blood, and also the hormone serine that was secreted by way of the barotheric gland. Okay. And by the way, we know that the barotheric gland is an endocrine gland, isn't it? You know that? Oh. Oh, okay. Well, it is. Okay. The constant inhaling and processing of toxic oxygen, and especially the content of CO2, carbon dioxide, in the air as it is, you are killing yourself. You are accelerating your life force, and you are burning bright, looking healthy, but you are aging more quickly. So when we have with the liquid gold, you know, and the barotheric gland, etc., we wouldn't age as quickly. Put this way, without that, because the fact that we are heavily imbued with melanin, we don't age as quickly as all other races. That is just because of melanin. You know, look at what's his name? It was King Charlie's son, William. By the time he hit 20, he was a ball patch on his head, didn't it? You know what I mean? The constant inhaling and their stress got much money. Their stress got much money, isn't it? The constant inhaling and processing of toxic oxygen, especially the content of carbon dioxide in the air as it is, you are killing yourselves. You are accelerating your life force, and you're burning bright, looking healthy, but you are aging more quickly. We don't have enough zinc in our systems, and this is why our sisters labor so much in childbirth, because of the lack of zinc. I'm not saying that the color brown isn't a beautiful color, but it still lacks something, and that lack is the color green, that chromatophore, that green, that magnesium that gives you the chlorophyll base. Now, they talk about global warming. The mere fact of global warming is changing the atmosphere. So things need to be balanced, and because things need to be more balanced, and things will become balanced, the whole planet is recalibrating itself, and we too have to recalibrate as well to go on that recalibration, or the master teacher puts it in the dimensional shift. As the planet moves up another octave, or a dimensional shift is occurring, and we too have to move up with it. So going back to the sister's question, which talked about copper, it's there right in the scrolls. I think the brother's got a mic. The mic got.
In regards to the dimensional shift you're talking about, when or if the ice walls, because we know ice isn't ours, they came with it. When and if the ice walls do go, would we be exposed to the beings behind that, or is that when we would be integrated with them? We'd have to learn to live with them, or is that just something that is hypothetical?
No, I don't know about the beings behind
the different lands.
The land, yeah.
The lands and the beings that live on those lands behind the ice walls.
Yeah, what's going to happen is that lands is going to rise and lands are going to fall underwater. The planet is going through, as we speak, what's referred to as a replenishing.
So what?
People get taken out.
So what?
Not only by natural nature, but by those extraterrestrials who come and do some wholesale shopping. I don't know if you know I know if you guys live around Port here and there's a cash and carry called Costco, big cash and carry. Well, look at planet Earth as a massive planetary Costco shop here, hotel shop, they're becoming. For certain money, you take it out. The master, he tells you, he tells you what you have to do. You've done it for years and years and years, so they've got their agenda, nature's got the agenda, we've also got an agenda. The master says how the devil has gone from planet, didn't make a lot of the same thing they do on this planet, they did on different other planets, and Michael and these angels fought against the dragon and these angels, and they won. And that same battle is taking place on this planet. Go ahead, someone.
So that correlates with my second question in regards to I have ancestors that I connected with while they were still in their physical beings that have transitioned, but they didn't take to Wu-Sabat. Does that mean that these ancestors aren't helping me if they are technically trapped still, according to the physical you after the story?
Right, that's a good question. Your ancestors seek to relive the physical by way of you. Or let's say you've got brothers and sisters by way of them all, because they don't just home in on you, you know what I mean? By their brothers, okay? So now, what happens is, as you begin to absorb Wu-Sabat, it is having an effect on them who are living through you. Let me say it like this. You are physical and spiritual. They are spiritual without the physical body. So they want to experience the physical world through you or their spiritual side. The more you absorb Wu-Sabat, it will have an effect on them and it will raise them up. You also got your ancestors who have crossed over and are on a higher level. Once they get raised up by way of you, they on the spiritual will make the connection with those ancestors who are on a higher vibratory state as well. You also will make the connection with your ancestors who are on a higher vibratory state. So you all will raise up. You could be the Jesus, the savior for your family. I mean, you may not have the name Jesus. Jesus, right? So you might do that. You follow? So you may have high ancestors that cannot reach them who are on a low level. So they live through you, you elevate, they elevate, and they reach the, you've got the high ancestors will all correlate together and everyone make it onto the next realm, the next one. There are untold realms. You know what I mean, there are trillions of Ethereums out there as well. What's this about?
Talking about so we've talked about ions, planets, constellations. I just wanted to take it on the physical level now. So I know we had the COVID, and I remember that time there was a lot of kind of people who go through mental health things, and there wasn't support for the elders and the community, and there was my question is, do we have that in place at the moment in time for the females, and if there was to be an epidemic, the females, I'm not too sure, so just and is that something that is needed in Wu-Sabat?
It is something that is needed. What it is that we as ontologists of time, we should look at what the information that the master has given us, and we meant to act accordingly. We meant to construct or get these structures set up for self and kind. Yes. That's what the doctrine is about. You see. So that's a very good question, because it meant Wu-Sabat is a culture, and our culture is all inclusive of everything, bar nothing. So we meant to get those set up, and it's not an impossibility because all other races need it, do the same thing. The challenge that we have is wake it up. We've got a bunch of lazy, that's what I say, lazy ass. I don't say an N-word, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So, so, but you know, that's the reality.
Sure.
But the thing is you know what's going to happen? Is the few is going to save the majority. The minority is going to save the majority. That's the reality of it all. You know what I mean? Look at one man, Partner Barry Lennon. Look at the effect that he's having on the planet. Now imagine say there's 9 more people like him on the planet. It's a game changer. Just 9 more. 144,000, then that's long time, mate. But put it this way, right? It's over anyway. You know what the master said? He put like this: not Jehovah, it's all over. I read a couple of masters and he said it's not Jehovah, it's all over. All right. It's got here. Someone writes here, Ashay Dawkins writes here, how do we find balance when the environment stroke community is not balanced, does not support balance? Well, if we can't find balance, you know what we do? What do we do if we can't find balance? Okay, now we've got that answered. Okay, it's that simple, isn't it? It's that simple. The other equation, where there is a problem, there's always a solution. If there isn't a solution, then you've got a problem. That's good. Yeah. Nicole Rose says, follow up to the above question, are our external perceptions a reflection of our internal state of being? 100% is correct. The external world, or remember I recommend that book here, of the Master Key System.
Sure.
Listening points for the audience on this book here, the Master Key System. You read this book, read Partner Babylon and Scrolls. You know, I said many times when we talk about this book, the dude studied the Egyptian mystery system, and this book was written in 1912 AD, over 100 and odd years ago. 122 years ago. 112 years ago. 112 years ago, yeah. 112 years ago, but the book's written. And in part of Babylonian Scrolls, you see the exact same thing. Maybe use different terminologies, and it's actually on YouTube. If you tap in the Master Key System, be able to get it on YouTube. And I think our brother calculated it will take, I don't know how many, 60 hours each section on YouTube. I mean, all of it.
Half of it, but it just reminded me a lot of Wu-Sabat.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, what number lesson you got up to?
I got to maybe 15.
15. I know that takes you weeks.
No, I just kind of
Rinse it.
Rinse it. After you told me in class.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's very informative, isn't it? Very informative, isn't it? I've got up to part 12. I had to go back and you have to recap. You know what I mean? Anyway, so what was the comment with this? What was I saying? Do you remember? Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So in here, the guy talks about the outer world and the inner world, and how the outer world, as Nicole Rose says, the outer world is a reflection of the inner world. You see, so once we make that journey in, what I want to say is construct our outer world inside first, and take the journey outward.
Meaning, what do you mean?
What you want to achieve externally, create that internally.
But isn't that natural though?
Yeah, it's natural, but you want to do it consciously.
Okay.
Because that's why you have a lot of people that have all these self-help group, I don't know what to call it. You know, people then groups, positive thinking groups, it's by $100 to go to listen to the lecture, blah, 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 blah. you know, and Prime Babylon give us the formula here for free, right? They have to buy the book, but that's it. But they got this lecture, they pay $300, $400, $500, and you think this is the book, blah, blah, blah. This is the lecture. So what we should be doing constantly is construct, or we use the term, make the black print in the inner world and make it materialize in the outer world. And what we do, all these chants that we do, and it ain't just, you know, to exercise your vocal cords, it's you actually, it's there so that we are making the communication to the higher beings, to our ancestors and relatives who crossed over to help us in our journey in this world, this, what do you call it, life, in this, the physical life, yeah. We would help them because we need their guidance as well. We need guidance from the unseen world to help us navigate ourselves in the seen world, or the world of illusion, you see. But what they will do is, we're here to experience. So they would set the stage or set the path, and it's up to us to initiate the process or to walk that path. They can't walk it for us. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say.
I do. Does it kind of tie in with as well? I was kind of thinking, you know, that connection that you were saying, we need them to help us. For example, like I want to use this analogy, like weight training. Someone could be doing the weights quick, and then someone could be doing them slow and controlled, and you'll get more from that. Can we apply that to chanting? Because, for example, I know you always reiterate that it's like a phone call. You're calling twice as much. You should be listening twice as long as you chanted to receive that information. Do we fall short when we just do a chant and get up and go? Because it's a process, isn't it? It's something.
You said something very pertinent there. We've got 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth. So we should look and listen twice as much as we speak. You follow? That's the formula is there, isn't it? 2 eyes, 2 ears, unless you're a different type of human being. So 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth. So we should look and listen twice as much as we speak. See? And you're making a phone call, and in order to hear, to hear, for lack of a better word, the feedback is where we need to be in silence. There are those of us who are not into chanting. Not everyone's into chanting. However, if you're not into chanting, try and take time out to be in silence so you can hear that feedback. You know what I mean? That can also be your higher self, because we're not just composed of a physical body and a spiritual body. There are many sheaths or cloaks or coats to the physical. Now, the mere fact of me saying this takes you on to this page. I want to say this from about 8 o'clock. From what time does it start? 7 o'clock? Yeah, I want to say this little section from 7 o'clock. So let's read this here. It ties in what's here. This is from the Holy Tablets, chapter 7, the Living Soul. Before we continue on Clubhouse, you guys are kind of quiet on Clubhouse. Any questions on Clubhouse? Comments and or observation? Why Clubhouse always seems to be the quiet guys? Clubhouse? Let's give them a look. No questions, Clubhouse? Okay, no questions, guys. Sister Nicole did give us the power sign. Okay, let's read the Holy Tablets, chapter 7, Living Soul. This is tablet 38, page 776. Someone say something? Oh, okay. Okay. 17, Holy Tablets, chapter 7, tablet 38, page 776. I'm reading from verse 17, it reads, earthly existence is but a fraction of the experience of a soul. One lifetime, look how short that is.
Repeat that.
Again. 17, earthly existence is but a fraction of the experience of the soul. So how many experiences does our soul need? Yeah, that means- so much. About that, yeah. There's a movie that talks about that, which is called Edge of Tomorrow with
Oh, yeah.
that guy.
Tomorrow.
Edge of what's the guy called? That Tom Cruise, yeah, Tom Cruise. Edge of Tomorrow. Watch that movie. That's a really good movie that depicts that. Okay, you live in a life, doesn't work out. He comes back. Yes, it takes another step. He dies. Okay, so he took one step. He dies. He comes back. Take a second step. He dies. And come back. Takes a third step. Dies and come back. Yeah, let's say he had to take X amount of steps. Let's say he had to take 24,000 steps. but every time he came back, he took an extra step.
Yeah.
He took an extra step. Watch that movie, Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge.
Yeah, Edge of Tomorrow. Tom Cruise, Edge of Tomorrow.
That'd be a good film to watch when you get on.
Yeah. Believe, yeah. Okay, so let's read that again. So, verse 17. Again, earthly existence is but a fraction of the experience of the soul. 18. Every person has three bodies: the physical body, 19, the astral body, and the causal body, 20. His or her own trinity, 21. The physical body is also called the food sheath. Everyone loves to feed the flesh, in it. Why is that? 22. For it is composed of what is eaten. 23. And at the end of life, it, the physical body, returns to the food cycle. 24. The astral body is composed of the vital sheath, which contains all the energy. And as we spoke earlier on, we talk about from the physical plane, we then got the plane of force. You know? So the astral body is composed of the vital sheath, which contains all the energy. 26. The mental sheath, which contains all emotions and desires, and its lifespan is 1,000 years, as the Lord or Lords Elohim. 27. And the intellectual sheath, which performs the functions of analyzing and thinking. This is the mental sheath. 28. The causal body is made up of the bliss sheath, for its nature is pure bliss. So this is our higher being. Okay. 29. The astral, I'm gonna stop there. Read that again. The causal body is made up of the bliss sheath, for its nature is pure bliss. I know if you can remember, back in the days, we said how we said, no, back in the day, we talking about different planes. We said the physical plane, and what's the bosom? Yeah, the bosom. Yeah. Say again, somebody said.
Plane of divine truth, plane of reality,
And
bosom of Alu or Ha'ut.
yeah, the bosom. And if someone says, "Where's your bosom on your body?" Where would you point to?
Your chest.
Your heart seat. Yeah. You follow? The bosom or that seat up, that state of ashok, divine love. You see? So divine love is the highest of planes, divine love. And you don't have to cross over to reach that state. That's why the master says, ashok, divine love and unity will free me. But when he's saying that is divine love and unity will free ourselves as well. Because once we synergize all our energies together, anything and everything that we imagine to do, we will be able to do.
You can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
Words are different meanings, but one, do they go hand in hand with them in marriage?
Of course they do, innit? Yeah, that's right. Divine love and unity. You can't say, I have divine love, but I don't like the mother. You know what I mean? I have divine love, but no, you're bad-minded. You know what I mean? It don't work like that, you know what I mean? Or you have divine love for someone, not divine love for another guy.
But true divine love, you won't be able to unify until we start to show and act.
Do you know that, yeah, a lot of people say divine love is a verb, but divine love is an entity, it's a living entity. That you work it, it will work you. You let it in, and it will do its magic. Yeah. Have a question?
So how are we supposed to reinforce this divine love while also maintaining that boundary of don't take the mick because I know that you're bad mind? If that makes sense.
Yeah. You know something that you have, it's like this. Some people, I don't want to use the right words. You know, we talked about being stern, kind. We said that the Riskians are kind, caring, but stern. Someone may be bad-minded, and you say, right, this is where the buck stops, and you confront them about it. You might, the brother is talking about earlier on, you might say something to them, and it touches a nerve, and they don't like it. As far as they're concerned, now you're the bad-minded one because you touch a nerve. But sometimes, Raul, you are showing a shock to that person. You are telling them in a way as you should fix up. But they may take it the wrong way because they are, what's that word for, somebody who is self-centered, that's a word they use, who are, what's that called? No, it's a word they use for people who are, they always think about me, myself, and I. No, so it's a word on the right.
Narcissistic.
That's the word, yeah, narcissistic, that's it. The man, they're narcissistic, you know what I mean? You can't tell me squat. You know what I mean? Them and them. But the thing is that sometimes you have to be stern with the man them. I remember one guy at work many years ago. This guy at work, he's like, he never made his skin. And he come to work, right? And another brother said to him, I'm keeping it real. Still, no one wanted to tell him that the brother, you stink, right? Baby skin to come to work. The brother told him. People want to say, damn, man, that rings me. But he did. But this brother told him. He said, he told him, yeah. And the thing was, your brother told him that, the man then. He told him, said, and guess what? The next day, man come man feeling fresh with must have made his skin and put aftershave or whatever it was on. You know what I mean? But nobody wanted to tell the brother. And anybody tell him.
Next man could have dead for that.
So I had to tell the brother. But yeah, that's a shock.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I ain't having this anymore, mate. Now you can tell the brother that, come to work tomorrow morning, make sure you wash the skin and put some perfume or whatever. Next, after that, man, that smell. I think he did slip up, he did backtrack, but all in all, the man fixed up, you know what I mean? So I keep it real, you know what I mean? So, what questions about that? Okay. Okay, no more comedy hour. Too much comedy joke is in this yard there. Anyway, let's continue reading. We're not even touching the subject. Can we teach the class? It's meant to be the physical you versus the spiritual you. It's like we've gone to bloody risk. Or You lot better start to, right, you lot better start doing another class of this thing in mind a little bit. Anyway, let's continue. That's my job is, like, all the seriousness gone, isn't it? Okay, let's continue reading. So we've got here 28. The causal body is made up of the bliss sheath, for its nature is pure bliss. Remember, you talk about love, blah, blah. 29. The astral body, which interpenetrates and extends 6 to 8 inches beyond the physical body. Hear this now. 30. Where it is frequently called the hala or aura. So the astral body basically is our aura, okay? And we talk about diet, and we talk about tones, frequencies, and vibrations, and we're talking about how electromagnetism and breathing, and we talked about the negative hydrogen ions in the atmosphere. We said that when you're breathing, these negative hydrogen ions, and we call it controlled breathing, we call it shmei. That's the term, we call it shmei. And the breath, within the oxygen, or within the oxygen, the equivalent of oxygen, O8 is E8, which we call sirem. And when we are taking those negative hydrogen ions in, it will strengthen and repair our astral body, or our halot, or our auric shell. We'll repair that, and it's okay, so we know that it interpenetrates. And the actual shape is called a toroidal field. The toroidal field, that's the shape. It's called T-O-R-O-I-D-A-L, toroidal field. Yeah, toroidal field. It's called a toroidal field. Google that.
And you said that's 6 to 8 inches.
6 to 8 inches outward, yeah. Coming from the heart seat. The toroidal field, Google that, and you see a lot will come up. And you could tie into the aura, etc., and how that field is the conduit to what's that thing called? The vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the physical umbilical cord. Yeah, the vagus nerve is the channel of the etheric cord. The etheric cord, you read that in the Science of Healing scroll. If you've got time, I don't think we have time. What's time now? You've got 8 minutes left. I can continue reading this. So read here. 29 again. The astral body, which interpenetrates and extends 6 to 8 inches beyond the physical body. 30, where it is frequently called the hala or aura. 31, the physical body is the vehicle of the astral and causal body. 32, while the soul is to incarnate on earth in order to learn the lesser what? The lesser knowledge, or the lesser experiences of the physical world we live in. That's the purpose of the soul, to learn, okay? Because remember that our soul is linked to what we call Pa-Hu, the oversouls that extends beyond, okay?
Sorry, Jamal, sorry to cut you. So, the oversoul?
Yeah.
Is that one entity?
That's a group of entities.
A group
being
of how many? 7?
Trillions, I think it is.
Trillions?
Yeah.
So, can you elaborate by way of hakikat, actual facts, what clones are and how they relate to the oversoul?
Clones,
because our clones, do we have how many clones? 7? The master used to teach?
Yeah, the master says 7 clones, but going back to listen to that tape, Reality of Life After Death, because he said that on that, it's called Reality of Life After Death. Dr. York, going there, and he says that in there he states how people like Bilderbergers and people of that, people like that, on the echelons of society would have clones, so that say they needed a body part, they would use the body part from one of these clones. They would be in a, in a cryogenic state, or they, or they get a clone, use his body part to help this individual, etc., etc. One good example would be old Queenie, her old man, what's the guy's name? Duke of Edinburgh. You know that he passed his Wu-Sabat date. How come this dude is still walking, walking around, and you can tell the man he's, he should be buried 6 feet under. Without that, he must be using a clone, using body parts. The master also says on that same tape, this thing called stem cells, how they're using stem cells from fetus, and he said that it talks about how, but in order to use the stem cells, they have to kill unborn babies, and that's why they will go to Africa, get a child. People will go to Africa and tell a parent, yeah, for your child, I'll give you, for your baby, I'll give you X amount of thousands of bucks for your child.
China are paying Nagaru males £90,000 to come over and Japan to go and have babies with their women.
Yeah.
So you can go, yeah.
Yeah. So, but they would use them. They can go over there.
But to take it on a serious note, with the clones, do we have clones ourselves? And if so, how many can occupy Wu-Sabat?
Oh, the master teacher said that on that tape. He said that now you won't have no clones. That's what he said. That or
So we don't have clones, then.
but you would. I wouldn't say it's a clone, but I've seen it's in the picture. I remember years ago I went to Ghana. I saw the picture of this guy. It looked just like me. Damn. And Hatat, who is on Tamaray, there's a sister that looked just like her. You remember that? You remember that? Yeah. Yeah, you seen her? Yeah. Good image.
People used to say I look like Bradley from Esquire 7.
I thought he was. Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Simon.
Where you mentioned the vagus nerve, I just wanted to know, just like anything with the human body, if it gets damaged, it has the potential to heal back stronger than it was, right?
The vagus nerve.
If it gets damaged.
I never heard of that one before.
I'm just asking. So just normally in the human body, if something is damaged, it has the potential to heal back stronger than it was. So I'm asking if that could be the case.
With the vagus nerve. That's a good. The body can heal itself the same way how if you cut yourself, it's called your body can keloid. So the body can heal itself because the master did say, and it's a known fact, that certain organs can I don't know if it's regenerate. I don't know if that's the right word. Like the liver is one of them organs, and the brain is. What's that word? There's a word he used when the brain could repair itself. So, the kidneys, the liver is one of them, and the brain is one of them. Yeah. There's a term that they use. There's a term. What's it called? I think neuroplasticity. Is that the term? Neuroplasticity. The brain can rebuild itself together, and like the liver, you see. Once you, and because the brain can do that, because the brain has that ability and capability of doing that, the science of neuroplasticity, that means then that the brain cells can replicate itself and can also transmit those messages to those damaged parts of the body to repair. That's what, because what it is, what was once thought that once the brain cell dies out, that's it. But now, because of neuroplasticity, because of the science of neuroplasticity, they know that information is old and outdated. And the master's got a scroll called the Neuroscience of Wu-Sabat, Wu Know Up, and in there he goes into it. Also, the other scroll is called Natural Ether Energy. For those who may have it here.
So,
Let's go. That's it there. These two scrolls, Natural Ether Energy, is for the audience on Zoom, and this scroll here, Neuroscience of Wu-Sabat. This is the two scrolls that goes into it. Neuroscience of Wu-Sabat, Neuroscience of Wu Know Up, Neuroscience of Wu Know Up, and Natural Ether Energy. These two scrolls go hand in hand. Okay. I'm going to take a picture of it. You see it?
Yeah, sounds
Cool. And brother, you want to ask a question? No question? Then brother.
I just wanted, the reason why I was asking is because, I don't know if it's the vagus nerve, but I damaged a nerve in my spinal cord,
Right.
something to do with my spinal cord. But since that experience, I feel stronger spiritually.
Yeah.
It's like I've been almost like a rebirth in that sense, because I've been more awakened to many different things, and even my journey into coming here.
Yeah.
It's a very strong rebirth that's happened from that. So that's the only reason why I probably need to do my research and find out if it's got anything to do with the vagus nerve. But it was damage in my spinal cord.
Okay. Obviously, it's been repaired now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Must be a serious operation that must have been done. Yeah. He's under anesthetic and things like that.
No. Luckily, so it was I believe it was my cervical. It was the cervical part of my spinal cord. Of my spine, sorry, the bones.
Yeah.
So I think it's C5.
Okay.
Slipped and was leaning on my spinal cord for like 8-9 months maybe.
Okay.
So slowly, my left side of my body was just going more and more paralyzed.
That's right.
I didn't know what was happening, obviously, for those 9 months, but then I went to hospital and everything. They did what they had to do. I was a personal trainer, but they told me I couldn't train or do anything. So after that, I think it was like 2 years after, I went to see the doctor. Luckily, I eat right and I look after myself. So they were very shocked at the results and the fact that I healed so quickly. But then with that as well, I think I had at that moment, there was a big spiritual experience that I had, and it's continued since.
Yeah. Yeah. Well done. There's a lot behind that. Everything happens for a reason. There's no such thing as accidents. Don't watch Kung Fu Panda, the first one. He tells you that. That Master Oogway tells the panda. No, tells Master Chifu, there's no such thing as an accident. You watch the movie as well, but yeah, you know what I mean? Everything happens for a reason. With reasoning being the highest form of mental processing. A situation like that brought you here, lets you know that it was something that was purposely orchestrated by one of your ancestors.
Wait,
Follow?
It's funny you say that because a grandparent of mine, the last grandparent of mine, passed, I want to say around the time or just before this happened. So I don't want to say believe, I know she has a big play in that. And I guess that's what I'm probably trying to connect with.
Yeah.
My experience.
Yeah. But you, if we could finish in a minute, but you saying that lets me know that there is a strong connection to that relative of yours. And what you want to do is talk to that relative and she'll connect you to your other ancestors. Lets you know that they're all around you. So that experience is a very nice experience.
Sorry, this is leading to something else. Sorry for.
The brother saying last orders. Last orders.
So in that respect, just according to the doctrine, I'm just trying to get some understanding. So does that mean she ascended to that higher place, or is she trapped?
Actually, she ascended to the higher place and she's guiding you.
Okay. That's all I need to know.
Let it be made known that your people who, your relatives who crossed over may not have been in Wu-Sabat, but they may have been in the church or whatever, but it doesn't make them a bad person. And they could have been on a frequency level that they found favor in the eyes of Panasaro, and they made it. So now they're here on the physical realm. They're here guiding you, and you've got to make the connection from your spiritual side to them, even though when you make that connection to them, once you're aware and you make the connection with them, I say them because it's not just one, it's many of them. You make the connection with them and they'll make the connection. The connection will be stronger. You become conscious of them. Stone Wu-Sabat. Because when you're on the ship, there are days when the sea is calm and there are days when the sea is rough. The rough days in life makes us appreciate the calm days in life. When it's cold, it makes us appreciate the hot weather. Life is like that. With that, Moisar,
One more.
one more. So you give the brother one more? Because of a shock. Only because of a shock, bro. You don't have a shock, we say, pull shut us down.
I'm pretty sure I know the answer to the question, because now that I've had time to think about it, but you said that it was probably his grandmother who intervened. So I didn't realize that our ancestors could, whether they be agreeable or disagreeable, they could interfere for a negative reason or positive reason.
That's correct.
That's crazy, you know. Okay. So, and for that to happen, you would have had to have a strong connection with them in the physical. And if you didn't have a strong connection with them in the physical after they passed, you would have to build that with meditation and Wu-Sabat and so on.
Yeah.
So, oh, that's crazy. So your nan done something. That's mad. Okay, yeah, that was it. That was it.
Sometimes, you know, just before quickly, sometimes you don't even have to have a connection with them. They can have a connection. Let's say this group will have a connection with you because they want to relive that physical experience through you.
Whether it be positive or negative.
You'll find that the higher beings, your ancestors that have elevated, don't want to relive the physical experience because they've outgrown it.
Yeah.
So all it is now, they want you to make the connection with them so that you too will elevate. The lower ones now, the disagreeable ones now, want to make a connection with, want to relive physical life through you and coerce you to go eat Dunkin' Donuts and go to Mickey D and whatever. You know what I mean? So you've got to now discipline yourself and you elevate yourself. They will have to relinquish that desire for the physical, and in turn, because they're living through you, they will elevate with you to that level in the spiritual realm so that your high ancestors can meet them and take the next thing. Watch the movie. What's the movie? That movie. I think it's a movie. Movie called, it's a cartoon one where
The ancestors
Yeah.
from the Mexican,
Yeah.
the dead.
Yeah, that's the one.
No, it's about the day of the dead. Coco.
That's it, Coco.
Coco.
Check out the movie Coco. Talks about it, yeah. With that, my son, and at the end of another class, next class will be taken by Wu-Sabat Ray. Next week, same time, same place. We thank you all on Clubhouse. We thank you all on Zoom, and we thank the listener audience here at the chat, 101 Church Street. Until the next time, Akhbros, give and take care. Wadu.